Started following. Yeah. No, listen, three days long. Somebody else scared there. Yeah.
Right, we're going to go ahead and call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Hill County Commissioners Court to order. It's the 25th day of August, 2026, 8:30 a.m. We are in the Hill County Courthouse and we do have a quorum present. We could open with prayer. We have a pastor here today. Just there. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day, Lord. We thank you for this country, this county, Lord. We thank you for the blessings that you pour out upon this country and this county, undeserved, totally undeserved. Lord, we pray for wisdom and discernment as we enter into decisions here today. Lord, and we bless you. We praise you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. You follow me in prayer. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the microphone test. Mic test, mic test.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioner? Got your name, precinct.
Yeah. Let's start handy. We've got some column we're trying to get caught up on. We're getting ready to start a chip seal job in the middle section of 1414 between 67 1439. And we're down to one dump there. Yeah, had the steering go out on one of them, which was pretty scary. Guy was fortunately not loaded, but he was coming back to the yard. Had an oncoming encounter with a rock hog and was trying to make a turn on and just barely avoided a collision. But that's a whole nother subject. Pretty dangerous. I talked to a constituent yesterday out on 67 off of 1430 making a turn. Had plenty of room, plenty of time, hauling a tandem axle trailer, and the guy put him in the guardrail. They're just speeding, they're going too fast, overloaded. And it's just, I don't know how we manage it, but it's a problem. I know that you're aware of that.
Oh, very much.
I know the sheriff's aware of it.
Very much so.
Anyway, Larry will help us out tomorrow. And appreciate that.
Yeah, he called a little late this morning. My drivers had already started hauling rock, and I told him, let me know this afternoon. I'll send him 2 or 3 bobtails tomorrow to help him get that project started or get it done. But we finished the Peoria area a week ago. Waiting on 21-24 to finish it, but need a little rain to help us out. I don't think we can haul enough water right now to process it and get it ready. So right now we're trying to do a little shredding and hauling some rock, hitting some weak spots.
Commissioner? Today, guys took off. They're gonna walk a couple of roads down. One of them's gonna go back and re-shredding, and we've been hauling rock for the past, oh my gosh, a handful of days for the Hubbard Wind 2. They've been giving us some. Commissioner?
We've been cleaning out some ditches, or we probably still have 100 miles of ditches still need to be done. But this is the time of the year you clean them when it's dry. Can't do much out there in the mud, so anyway, it's ready, so we're trying to get a few things done. But it doesn't show up a lot real well at that, but that's just the beast.
Any quick comments?
It's great.
Great.
What he did, but great.
All right. All right, and as far as, how about the auditors?
We're working on the budget closely with the treasurer, some other than that, just regular day-to-day operations, we are gonna prepare for. Our end of year inventory in September, it's a next big project to go out, and then I'll put the ministry on hand to build the insurance there.
Juvenile probation?
We have been very busy, and I know that's unfortunate, but we stay busy. I didn't wanna just, share with Commissioner's Court. We did 2 events last week, partnering with HOTBHN and Texas AgriLive, as well as they were 2 large substance abuse events, that we held at Hillsborough High School and Whitney High School, but it was open to the entire community. We didn't have the best turnout, but we had a small turnout, and which we feel like was a huge win. We just wanted to thank Berkshire's in Hillsborough and Whitney for donating, because we wanted to so we fed their families and those kind of things as well. But it was a really exciting thing. I know Rachel was here, Rachel Parker, for some of these, just trying to get awareness out in this community as much as we can. So yeah, it's exciting. It turned out great.
Good. Mr. Holmes, got any friends up? Doing well?
I'm getting ready.
All right. From my office, we have. From my office, I don't even know really where to begin. We did get a draft of an MOU for the fire marshal with the agreement with Hillsborough, the city of Hillsborough. So that'll be interesting to see how they review that and what changes they're looking for in that. Obviously, budget is the big one that we're working on right now, and we'll obviously address that later on in the meeting. Any other electeds or appointeds? Oh, all right. We'll go ahead and move on to open forum. If Commissioner Crumpton, can you hand me that list? There should be 2.
This is the agenda item.
Okay, so we have a public hearing later on in the meeting, which I'm gonna try to move that one up since probably the majority of you are here for that. And then we will go to, we'll go ahead and start open forum. Ms. Polly? Ms. Polly, you have 5 minutes.
We don't. Judge and Commissioners, I stand before you today to talk about an invisible crisis unfolding right beneath our feet. For generations, the backbone of this nation has been rooted in our soil. It lives in the hands of the men and women who wake up before dawn to tend the livestock, cultivate the crops, and steward the natural resources that feed and clothe our people. But today, that backbone is fracturing. The American independent farmer and rancher are facing an existential threat. And if they go under, they take our nation's food security, our water security, and our independence with them. Every single week, we watch as rich, fertile grazing lands and multi-generational family farms are systematically swallowed up. It is happening through the aggressive overreach of eminent domain. It is happening through corporate land grabs, skyrocketing property taxes, and federal regulations that prioritize everything except the people who actually know how to manage this earth. Think about what is happening across our country right now. From California to Texas and all across the American West. Historic ranches are being shuttered. We're told these seizures and buyouts are for the greater good. For new infrastructure, for massive corporate data centers, for energy fields, or under the banner of environmental conservation, or under the banner that we've got to stay ahead of China. But let us ask the hard question. What happens to a nation when it trades its food production for asphalt and servers? We are already seeing the devastating consequences of this displacement. Because of land loss, severe droughts, fires, and skyrocketing input costs, the United States cattle herd has shrunk to its lowest level in 3/4 of a century. Meat processing plants are actively shutting down because there simply isn't enough cattle left to process. When we push ranchers off their grazing allotments, we don't just lose a family business, we lose a critical link in our food supply chain. When the domestic production plummets, we are forced to depend on foreign imports to fill our grocery shelves. We are being asked right now to start relying on beef shipped from thousands of miles away, undercutting our local economy, our local cattle growers, and leaving our food supply vulnerable to global disruptions. As it doesn't stop at the grocery store, let's look at our water. Agriculture and water are inseparable. As agricultural lands are carved up by eminent domain and corporate consolidation, deep pockets are buying out the accompanying water rights. The very aquifers and rivers that once sustained local communities are being diverted to feed rapidly expanding urban concrete jungles and massive industrial complexes. When you control the land, you control the water. And when a select few corporations control the water, they control life itself. What is the one thing your body can only survive without for 3 days, people? It's water. A case of water is 3 gallons. A family of 4 needs 4 gallons a day. One case doesn't last a day. 6 weeks of supplies is 56 cases, 2 pallets in your garage. And when you open that last bottle, it's over. Stored water is a countdown. The last bottle is the end. If the grid goes down, municipal tap water typically runs for 12 to 72 hours after a total grid failure. Private wells lose water immediately, leaving only the tiny reserve in a pressure tank, which is about 2 to 10 gallons. The equation is simple and the math is terrifying. Less land plus less water equals severe shortages. Shortages of beef, shortages of fresh produce, shortages of clean, accessible water. And as we all know too well, when supply plummets, prices skyrocket. This is no longer just a debate about property rights. It is a direct threat to whether an average American family can afford to put dinner on the table. We cannot afford to remain silent. We must demand strict limits on the use of eminent domain so that private property cannot be seized simply to benefit corporate bottom lines. We must fight for policies that protect public land grazing rights for the families who have responsibly managed them for over a century. And we must recognize that true national security begins with food sovereignty. A nation that cannot feed itself is not a free nation any longer. Let us stand with our farmers. Let us protect our ranchers. Let us defend the land and water that has sustained us for generations before there is nothing left to defend. And now I'd like to address a situation where we have all been approached out in our area by a company that's called WTG Hubbard Transmission.
Your time is up.
I live from Redford.
What's your name now?
Jim Weber.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Paul.
And the landman had reached out to a lot of us. And to say the least, I think the word would be deceptive. And so they wanted to enter our properties and survey. None of us knew anything about this WTG Hubbard transmission. I personally called the adjoining pipeline that already runs through our property, Energy Transfer. They knew nothing about this pipeline at all. And so with our research that we're now have been doing, we have found out that there's a Texas law on the books that's Landowners Bill of Rights for all of you, Landowner Bill of Rights. And within this, it was to our amazement, we have the right to ask for them for reimbursement to do a survey on our property, which basically he was offering nothing. He was offering nothing but to enter our property. So now there's a whole group of us, we're now seeking legal counsel. But I mean, we were just all wondering, was the county aware of this WT transfer coming in on the east end of the county and going to Hubbard? And I think the thing that what we're most concerned about is this. We didn't get any documentation. We don't know where it's starting, where it's ending. And we actually, none of us, maybe the Autry's received something yesterday from the gentleman after we stonewalled him. But none of us know anything about this at this point. And it's concerning because we already have one gas pipeline running through our property. And so now they're wanting to come in with a 30-inch. So we would really appreciate it if we could get some help on this, if somebody could investigate it for us and look in to see, you know, what's the intention here? Where's it starting? Where's it ending? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Collins. Mr. Lowell Williams?
Morning, Your Honor, Commissioner. So I'm here again on our Agricultural Development District. As Ms. Polly just stated, we've tried everything. We've put it in our elected officials' hands. At your level, y'all say you are tied. Our governor says one thing on TV, but turn around and does a whole nother thing so he can get his votes. We've got, I'll just use the Blum Data Center because that directly affects me and will change my livelihood. You got it, they just filed for their air quality permits. It's a completely different name. There's so many name changes, shell companies, and everybody trying to hide it. But when I go do something with the county or the state, I have to use my Williams Ranch LLC. There is no shell companies. It's right out in the open. I'm here in the open. Y'all are here in the open. This agricultural development district is our last chance to stop this. There is no other ways. Miss Abney spoke on it last week or week before last, how she was against it. She stands to profit from it because this Y-35 and all this other stuff they got going through here, she gets money off that because if she sells land, there you go. I'm not selling land. My neighbors are not selling land. It's hard enough for us with Trump bringing in 300,000 pounds of beef, them shutting down all our meat packing facilities. This is my livelihood. So this is why we're here fighting. And y'all see some of the presentation that I supplied earlier when we go into that discussion. But we need everybody's help. And that's pretty much why we're here and why I'm here. That's all I've got.
Thank you. All right. I believe we have one online to speak for open forum, Mr. Zangari.
Yes, sir. I am here.
Hold on. Let me get your timer and then I'll let you turn your speaker down. When you start, sir, I'll start your time.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. All right. So I just want to say good morning, commissioners. I have to start with something I generally find hilarious. Martin Dudick apparently decided to take a page out of my playbook and tour the Hill County Jail. I guess imitation really is the sincerest form of flattery. But considering Mr. Dudick somehow managed to have problems with his oath of office not once, but twice, maybe touring the jail is exactly the kind of government training program we should expect from this appointment process. This is the person selected to represent Precinct 3 after the public never got to vote on his appointment. And once again, we see the same political circle. Judge Brazel, Republican County Chair Will Orr, and the people they decide should hold power. Speaking of the jail, let's talk about something much more serious. Amanda Miller, the jail captain who took over after Shane Brazel left that position, was reportedly terminated on July 24th. My understanding is that the termination involved allegations that she was sending inmates money from her personal account while she was at work. So here's a very simple question for the Commissioner's Court. Were you informed about what was happening? Did the Sheriff's Office notify the county judge? Did anybody notify the commissioners? Were county policies violated? How long had this allegedly been happening? And what exactly was discovered? Because we're going to request more records and we're going to find out. Which brings me to another one of my favorite Hill County subjects, public records. Apparently, I really irritated Elections Administrator Ada Motherspaw the other day because I received an approximate $1,000 cost estimate for election-related records. $1,000. Amazing. Government officials love using words like transparency and accountability right up until somebody asks for the emails, documents, applications, and communications that show how the decisions were really made. Then suddenly, transparency comes with a four-figure cover charge. And that brings me right back to you, Judge Brazel. Shane, do you remember June 4th? Because I do. I stood right here in open court and told you that I was interested in serving as Precinct 3 Commissioner. And you decided to give everybody an election law lesson. You said, quote, since it was after the primary, nobody can be placed on the ballot. And then you directed people toward Republican and Democrat parties. That was a pretty confident explanation. There was just one tiny problem. It was wrong. An independent candidate had a statutory process available. And guess who the filing authority was for that independent candidate? You! You were, Shane. That's what makes this entire situation so troubling. You weren't some random citizen giving bad election advice at the coffee shop. You were the official responsible for receiving the filing. You also told the public that you had discussed the process with the Republican county chair. That chair is Will Orr. So let's look how this appears. Republican county chair discusses the election situation with the county judge. The county judge publicly tells people that nobody can get on the ballot after the primary. The public gets directed towards the political parties, and ultimately the Republican establishment gets its preferred candidate. Wow, just wow. What an incredible sense of coincidences. And apparently Hill County produces more coincidences than it produces transparency. Then we have Ada Mothersbaugh. You supported bringing her into the elections office. Now that I'm requesting records about this election process, I'm starting at an enormous records estimate. Again, maybe everything has a perfectly innocent explanation. That's what records are supposed to help determine. But instead of making government easier to inspect, Hill County seems to determine to make inspection expensive. And Shane, your June 4 statements aren't disappearing. They're on video. Your words are preserved. The timeline's preserved. The law can be compared against what you told the public. And now I've retained an elections attorney concerning this ballot access dispute and your conduct as the filing authority. I expect you'll be hearing from counsel. So if things around the courthouse feel a little bit more stressful lately, you may want to get comfortable with that feeling, because the election matters isn't the only issue explained. I'm also compiling information for a Chapter 87 removal petition concerning your conduct in office. And here's the part you apparently still haven't figured out about me. I don't go away. You can't deny me access. You can't stonewall me. You can have political allies attack me. You can laugh. You can ignore me. But every time the government creates another question, I file another request. Every time somebody shuts the door, I start looking for the records behind it. For a former law enforcement officer who now serves as county judge, you should understand that the public officials don't get to substitute political convenience for that actual law. But here's a cheaper option. Follow the law, respect people's rights, stop playing political games. You wanted to keep me out? Congratulations. You may have created your next opponent in the next race. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, and I'm bringing plenty of it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Zengari. With that, we'll go ahead and move to our consent agenda, action on minutes, invoices, payroll, monthly report for revenue and disbursement, and observe and or record elected officials or appointed officials, training.
Like mentioned.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, as those are finished up, we're gonna go ahead and move number 12, discuss consideration and or possible, I'm sorry. Number 10, public hearing regarding the consideration of a proposed agricultural development district within Hill County, Texas pursuant to chapter 60 of the Texas Agricultural Code. We're gonna move that up to number 1 today because I'm sure most of you are here for that. Right now, I have a public hearing sign-in sheet. Ms. Charlotte Williams on the Williams Ranch. You have 5 minutes. I'm sorry.
Good morning. All right, this is just to clear up some misconceptions. Chapter 60 does not say that every property in Hill County must receive approval from the Agricultural Development District Board before it can be sold. The key distinction is between property located inside the district and property owned by the district. If a property is merely inside the district, the fact that land is within the district does not by itself transfer ownership or give the district a general veto over private real estate transactions. Chapter 60 allows a district to consist of parcels of land, including non-contiguous parcels in multiple counties. Chapter 60 does not have a provision giving the district board general authority to approve or reject a private owner's sale of land, approve a deed before it can be recorded, prevent an owner from selling to a particular buyer, require the district's board consent to a private conveyance, or impose general land use zoning controls over private property. That is particularly important given the concern we discussed with the McLennan County proposal. If the district itself owns the property, that's different. If the Agricultural Development District itself requires and owns real property, the district's board would have statutory authority and fiduciary responsibilities concerning disposition of district assets. That is a very different situation from John Smith owning 100 acres inside the district and wanting to sell it to James Smith. There is also an important boundary issue. Chapter 60 specifically says that no portion of a proposed district may be located within a municipality's corporate boundaries unless the municipality gives written consent before the district is formed. That provision does not say that every private land sale inside the district requires board approval. So in regard to the Hill County petition, if someone is telling you, once this district is created, every property in Hill County has to be approved by the district board before it can be sold, this is an inaccurate interpretation of Chapter 60. In reviewing the full Chapter 60 structure, including the district powers, property provisions, eminent domain authority, assessments, bonds, tax increment financing, and the restrictions placed on those powers, the important point for Hill County, Chapter 60 gives a district substantial governmental and financial powers, but it does not give the board general zoning or general veto over private property transactions. The current Texas Ag Code is the controlling source. The most important conclusion, an agricultural district is not simply an agricultural association. Once properly created, it is a governmental agency, a body politic and corporate, a political subdivision of Texas, and a conservation and reclamation district. It expressly gives it governmental powers, but there is an equally important limitation. The district may not exercise a power unless it furthers the purpose of this chapter. That's 60.065. That limitation is extremely important when evaluating the Hill County petition's stated purpose of counteracting data centers. General governmental powers 60.051. The district may exercise powers expressly or implicitly granted by Chapter 60, performs acts necessary to carry out Chapter 60's purposes, own or implement multiple projects, merge with another agricultural development district, enter installment purchase contracts for goods and services, make required payments in lieu of taxes. But it may not impose an ad valorem property tax. That's expressly prohibited. That does not, however, mean property inside the district is free from all financial obligations. The district has a separate assessment power discussed below. Development power 60.052. The district may encourage economic development by fostering agricultural enterprises, stimulating innovation in agricultural enterprises, seeking to eliminate unemployment or underemployment, and developing or expanding transportation resources for ag purposes. This is broad economic development authority, but the statutory connection to agricultural matters.
Your time's up.
My daughter was there, here she comes.
I yield my time.
What's the name?
Dara Griffin,
White.
or White.
Newlywed.
Go-
All right.
Go ahead.
The district may encourage development by fostering ag enterprises, stimulating innovation in ag enterprises, seeking to eliminate unemployment, underemployment, developing or expanding transportation resources for ag purposes. This is broad economic development authority by statutory connection to agricultural matters. It isn't a general development district with unlimited authority over every type of industry. 60.053, this is the heart of the district. It may promote ag enterprises, facilities and services, encourage soil and water conservation, acquire, design and construct, operate an ag enterprise, expand and diversify agricultural production, develop processing, marketing, and export of Texas ag products, acquire vehicles, acquire farm equipment, machinery, acquire related facilities for harvesting, processing, storage, packaging, distribution, and transportation of ag products, byproducts. This is a significant power. A power-created district could therefore actually own and operate ag infrastructure. 60.054, ag projects. This section is particularly important for Hill County. The district shall designate qualifying projects as ag projects. The projects must relate to development of agriculture in the district and surrounding areas, preservation or conservation of soil and water for ag purposes. But here's the important safeguard. Every agricultural project requires approval by both the Texas Department of Agriculture, County Commissioners Court of the county where the project is located. And if the project wasn't included in the district's original creation under adjacent landowners must receive mailed notice at least 14 days before Commissioners Court consider the project. This is not the same thing as approval of every private development. Commissioners Court approves the district's ag project, not every private landowner's transaction. 60.055, transportation powers. The district can develop and operate transportation structures necessary to further Chapter 60's purposes, including railroads, toll roads, and private roads. It may also cooperate with navigation districts. Again, the statutory purpose is transportation and distribution of the district's agricultural products. 6, contracts and agreements. This is another broad power. The district can contract with persons for district purposes, including agreements to acquire ag enterprises, construct them, operate them, maintain them, provide law enforcement services through a county municipality on a fee basis, operate an ag facility through a qualified management contract. It can also accept donations, grants, and loans. The district can contract with counties and other political subdivisions to implement district projects or provide authorized services. Property 60.057. This explains previous question about selling property and becoming especially important. The district may acquire or dispose of property in any manner, including conveyance, mortgage, and at lease as lessor or lessee. But notice what 60.057 says. It gives the district authority to deal with the district property. It does not say the board must approve every private owner's sale of property located within the district. These are completely different things. Eminent domain 60.058, that limitation is critical. The statute does not authorize eminent domain simply because the board dislikes a proposed private development. The condemnation must be for ag in relationship to the land, must serve a genuine public purpose like roads, schools, or utilities, and the government must pay fair market value for the property. So, for example, chapter 60 does not appear to authorize. We do not want XYZ here, so we're condemning your property to stop the XYZ. That would be very different from condemning land needed for agriculture. Again, must be related as the land must serve a genuine public purpose like roads, schools, or utilities, and the government must pay fair market value. Under 60.059, ag research. The district may conduct ag research or pay for ag research. 10, lawsuits 60.060. The district has authority to sue and be sued. I guess the point of it all is don't let people misguide you. Look into it. Don't let them fear monger.
Mr. Blaha?
Okay, I'm here today to ask a fundamental question that affects every single family in Hill County. Where does your next meal come from? Does it come from a data center or does it come from a Texas farmer and a rancher? Right now, an unprecedented tech boom is sweeping across rural Texas. Individual data centers are swallowing between 200 and 500 acres of rural land each, with major regional projects spanning up to 2,600 acres. And the Hubbard Nexus Data Center is now over 8,000 acres and growing. Tech developers are launching aggressive land grabs, outbidding traditional agriculture values by astronomical margins, sometimes offering up to $100,000 an acre. This completely prices out the next generation of Hill County farmers. Once the topsoil is stripped, hacked, and buried under millions of tons of concrete, its fertility is permanently destroyed. It can never grow crops or graze cattle again. This isn't just about land. It's a direct threat to our vital resources. A single hyperscale data center can consume up to 5 million gallons of water every single day. By 2030, statewide data center use is projected to skyrocket to 161 billion gallons annually. That water comes out of the same aquifers our farmers rely on for crop irrigation and our ranchers need to keep livestock alive. On top of that, data centers account for roughly 90% of new electricity load requests under review by ERCOT. They demand immense year-round power. This risks driving up electricity rates for our rural residents and straining the grid during peak summer irrigation periods. Preliminary research even shows these facilities create microclimate heat islands, raising local surface temperatures by up to 16 degrees as far as 6 miles away. In Texas, extreme summer heat is already a primary driver of cattle mortality. What do we, the people, get back from these facilities? Not much of anything but corporate promises. Promises don't provide food, clothing, or shelter. Instead, this resource competition forces farmers to produce less, which will inevitably drive up grocery prices for every Texan as localized crop yields and cattle supplies shrink. We are facing a future where our water supply is depleted, our electric grid is overloaded, and our food supply chain is compromised. And right now, the local taxpayers and producers of Hill County don't get a choice. That's why we're here today. We are asking this Commissioners Court to pass the petition for the creation of an agricultural development district within Hill County. Passing this petition does not automatically dictate the final outcome. Instead, it does something deeply American. It gives the choice back to the community. It gives Hill County voters the right to vote on protecting their own livelihood, their beef, their water, and their precious farmland and grassland. For the future of Hill County, we need to pause, look at the data, and let the people speak. Please approve this petition, protect our agricultural heritage, and give the voters a choice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baha.
And I would like to iterate that this chapter 60, it does not have the authority of eminent domain. That is a false statement that was made in this court. Thank you.
Thank you. James B. Hudson?
Here.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
All right, I'm a landowner in Hill County. I'm not for this at all. I bought the land. I paid for the land. What I do with my land is my land. I can sell it as long as it's to a lawful, something that's been vetted. For people to tell me or boards to tell me what I can do or what we need to do, they're taking away my opportunity. It's the first step to go in socialism. I don't know. I don't trust anything that's done like that. It's not good. I made the investment. It's for my kids. I live down the road. I was Mark Lake's neighbor. Y'all know where it's at. The data center was going to go up on the old airport. I got a solar farm going across the road, we think. Yeah, I don't like that, but I don't own the land. They can make the decision themselves. That farmer that did the solar plant or solar farm, he gonna make more money off of that. And everybody can cry and bitch and complain, but that's his job. That's his land. And that's all. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna do what's right for my family, and we've got to adapt. Hill County's growing. If you can't adapt, you're gonna get gone. I mean, we're changing. Outlet Mall, Buc-ee's, everything's growing. We're going to grow, and we've got to be able to figure out how to grow with that. That's all I have to say. It's my land. I don't need people telling me what to do. I don't need a board making suggestions of what I want to do. I can decide that. That's what I got.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. Anna Miller? Hello, Ms. Miller.
My name is Anna Miller and my family's farmed in Hill County since the 1880s. My family did not choose to sign up for wind turbines or solar. And even though I'm surrounded by blinking lights, it's imperative to protect individual property rights and ensure every landowner can choose how to utilize their own land. Creating this agricultural district has the potential of infringing on those rights. So I am respectfully asking you to please vote no for approval of this petition and the creation of this ag district. It is not feasible or necessary, and it would not serve the public purpose of economic development. In reference to fulfilling the Ag Code Chapter 60 requirements, these are my 5 concerns. Number 1, creation of this agricultural development district threatens property rights. Landowners do not need anyone attempting to take away their individual property rights by trying to control how they use their land. This ag district proposes to protect land from industrial encroachment. But every landowner already has the right to protect their own land by simply not signing up or selling out. Number two, citizens of Hill County do not need bigger government. This petition creates a whole new autonomous level of government, which seems to have minimum accountability to the public. An ag district is a quote, government agency and a quote, political subdivision of this state, section 60.005. Number three, a very small group of people, along with their 5 directors, who do not even have to own land and live in the district, could have a great amount of power with the potential of controlling a lot of land and money. Land could be acquired through eminent domain, section 60.058, annexation, and voluntary participation. Money can be acquired from donations, grants, loans, issuing bonds, and imposing assessments on the land. Number 4, stopping data centers is not the intended purpose of Agriculture Code Chapter 60. The stated purpose of this code is to promote incentives for the development of agricultural projects that result in employment and economic activity. A Texas Farm Bureau review says projects like cotton gins, grain terminals, rail spurs, and ethanol refineries would be envisioned. No such projects are proposed in this petition, and no actual cost estimate is provided, and that's required. This ag chapter is actually being distorted and used as a disguise to try to stop data centers, not to benefit agriculture. When McLennan County Commissioners Court recently denied the exact same petition as this one, it's a carbon copy of theirs, Mike Dixon, the county attorney, said, the agricultural district is not a vehicle that can keep out data centers. And number 5, the agricultural district this petition creates does not serve the public purpose of economic development as Chapter 60 requires for approval. This petition has no agricultural projects that result in employment and economic activity. Creation of this district would threaten property rights, make property less attractive for investment, and lower property values. This would reduce tax revenue for Hill County and stifle future economic growth in this county. Please vote no. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Miss Lydia Abbott?
Good morning.
Good morning.
That's just what Miss Miller said. So you have to be besties, I think, because we just came up with pretty much the same information. She's absolutely correct. This ag district would not do what this group of petitioners wants it to do. I stand before you today once again, as a property owner and farmer, we understand better than most how the backbone of agriculture is broken. As it was earlier stated by Miss Polly, we farm, we ranch, and we own property because we've invested in our property. We've invested in our future. We've invested in our children's future. When evaluating proposed developments, we must ensure that any formal district created under state law genuinely serves the public interest and complies strictly with statutory mandates. I have 3 points for the court to consider. Misalignment with the state of Texas's statutory intent, which again is what Ms. Miller already said. Enabling legislature for Texas agricultural district development was created by the state to foster authentic agricultural innovation, infrastructure, and true community-wide economic development. All of this, the petitioners are here just wanting to hold the property as it is. There's no development. They haven't made a plan that says this is how agriculture is going to be improved in some way. And through, as Ms. Miller said, a cotton gin. A cotton gin could be used in the county. There's not many around. There's just no plan there that says we're going to make the economy better, we're going to create jobs. That's not what their plan is. Their plan is quite the opposite. And second, concerns regarding eminent domain, and erosion of private property rights. I believe it was Mr. Blaha that just said that eminent domain is not in chapter 60 agricultural code, and it is right here. And on page 11. 60.56, eminent domain. Unfortunately, it is all of 7 or 8 lines and is very vague. When you talk about eminent domain, there should be a lot more detail in there as to how they can do this, why they would do this, what it would be used for. And none of that's in there, but it is in fact eminent domain right there. So not misleading, not something that's misunderstood. Eminent domain is there. Providing such power to condemn or place encumbrances on surrounding lands creates a significant risk for neighboring property owners who remain outside this agreement. I have read the agricultural code. Section 60.058 on page 11 regarding eminent domain is vague, and this ambiguity is unsettling for other landowners within this county. Even the petitioners made a Facebook post on the 28th of July, the same day as the last meeting, acknowledging the eminent domain. And I quote, "This ag development district does have the overcomplicated legal verbiage, and some people keep focusing on eminent domain words. This verbiage is just wasted space and put in there for overcomplicated legal bureaucracy, end quote. It is important to note that, and they do go on to say that it would not be utilized, and that's not what they overall want to do, but the fact that the power is still there, I do not doubt for a second that some of these people within the petition would do just about anything to stop data centers, including use the power of eminent domain if given. And then third, critical petition insufficiencies and procedural flaws. So part of the hearing and part of y'all's job is to make sure that the petition is full, correct, and can be moved forward if that's your choice. But there are, even on the board of directors, the names on there aren't correct. One of the last names is incorrect. And it does sound like Alan Autry has recused himself from it, and he's still listed on the petition. McLennan County did not create the agricultural district when it was brought to their court. County Attorney Mike Dixon saw the law, said the law does not carry the authority residents believe that it does. So again, he's saying this, they feel like this is their last opportunity to save their land, but their opportunity lies within their own power. Don't sell their land. And even the attorney Mike Dixon for the McLennan County says that it does not carry the authority that residents believe that it does. He goes on to say there seems to be a misconception of what an agriculture development district is. Thank y'all for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Hagan. Next is T.A. Smith. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Professor T.A. Smith. I am not from Hill County. I'm from McLennan County. We face the same problems here across the state of Texas and at the United States federal level. That's about, I want to ask you a question, food, clothing, and shelter. Some of these people live in those farms and ranches. It's not just a farm and ranch that somebody's given up lately with this new industry type things. Next question is, we all know that we go to the store and we know what the beef prices are, and we know what that is going to be. And we know that there's water. Lots of things are being taken by this industry and nothing's given back. Not in relation to food, clothing, and shelter that we all got to have. When we started this meeting, we did the prayer, which now that's what we're doing. We're praying that everybody looks at both sides of this, discusses it, comes out with a good understanding of what's going on, figures out who maybe some bad actors and good actors are. Name that was mentioned was Mike Dixon. I wasn't going to mention him, but it was brought up already. He does not work for the county. He works in the office of Charlie Olson and some other people that are even involved in Hill County projects. So unless somebody can tell me something different, that's incorrect. And all he did was tell the commissioners board what they had to do. And I suggested in that meeting to table it and get all the facts. You don't have to, you're a commissioners board, you can table it till you get all the information. And then we turned around and we said the United States pledge. The United States of America right now is not helping us put food on the table. If y'all seen the headlines, there was Argentina just brought in 30,000 pounds of beef at the federal level, and it was all tainted. I don't want tainted meat. Schwab sat there in 2020 on the international stage, a financial Schwab investment person said we might have to eat insects and bugs. I don't want to eat insects and bugs, nor do I want to eat Bill Gates's lab-grown food. The agricultural district here today is to try to help make sure Hill County has farmers and ranchers to at least feed your county. That's what we're saying. And if it goes to bonds with another county, that's even better for y'all. I'm trying to give this county and other counties a chance to have food, clothing, and shelter at your table. And these people that are your neighbors that would give you food, clothing, and shelter have an opportunity to do that. Does that make sense to y'all a little bit? So, I mean, the agricultural district may not have a little tax thing in there, may not have a little thing in there about silos that was recommended in the code when it was first introduced years ago. It has never been done, but it says for agricultural purposes. These farm and ranchers behind me and the ones that can't get here today are putting food on your table right now for this county, other counties. And we have been the #1 state in the United States to supply food, clothing, and shelter as far as food and crops. And if you're up north, cotton, the clothes that we wear. If all this continues on, we're not going to have those folks. I want to make sure we still have farm and ranchers. That's one of the reasons I'm here. That makes sense to you guys a little bit? Okay. Now, with that in mind, I know this is a whole lot of information and you got to figure out who the bad actors and good actors are and why they say they want it and why they say they don't. And I just told you the reason I want it. I do farm and ranching other than being a professor. So this, I try to help my neighbors and the future generations that are coming up too. Does that make sense? And I know we've talked, some of you, I've talked to you individually and some of you I talked to more at length. This is y'all's opportunity to literally be the hero, help to make sure you got agriculture in this county. Because I want to throw out a number, 50,000 acres. You know what 50,000 acres is? That's the cattle company in California. 50,000 acres is the one in Mexico. 50,000 acres right now is what a data center, and that's the only time I want to use that word, has taken over. That's 50,000 acres in 2 different places, 100,000 acres, so we got 100,000 acres less of cattle. Does that make sense? Appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Clayton Tucker?
Good morning. Hoping everyone's doing all right with the heat lately.
Well,
So my name's Clayton Tucker. I'm the secretary of the Texas Farmers Union. A couple of our members asked us to come give our opinion on this matter. So, you know, actually, it makes me think of I was a little kid at the time on my family ranch. My papa and I saw smoke coming from our neighbor's farm. So we grabbed some burlap sacks, barrel water, took off down the road, and I asked my papa, why are we going to go help instead of waiting for the fire department? And he told me very simply, neighbors help neighbors. And it is my opinion that an ag development district is just that. It is collective self-help. Because when we read through the law, you start with the findings of the law. Why is this law even being considered? It very clearly says that we're losing our agriculture. We are. I know a lot of folks my age, I'm 35, they want to get into ag, they want to stay in ag, but it's becoming increasingly difficult throughout, not just in Texas, but everywhere. And they also talk about conserving, they need to conserve our soil, to conserve our water. And the purpose, if you read the purpose of the bill, it says to conserve and develop our natural resources. It is our opinion that this is worth a try. That this is just collective self-help. Farmers can build the infrastructure they need, where we can keep our agriculture. Because again, I mean, what will Texas be like once we lose our agriculture? We're losing 50 to 60 farms a week in the state of Texas. That's not sustainable. We have to start rebuilding our ag system, rebuilding our local food system. And that does start with protecting our water and land. that we can't protect our water, soil, and land, there's not going to be very much ag left in Texas in the next few decades. So again, I want to thank y'all for your time. I also want to thank everyone else behind me who's been saying their opinions. Even if our opinions don't 100% line up, I think this is very important. This is democracy in action. The one thing I will close on, if an ag development district was just run by a bunch of Austin or DC bureaucrats, I would 100% agree. I don't want any bureaucrats telling us what we can or cannot do with our own property. But when it's neighbors, when it's local folks making local decisions about how we can keep our agriculture protected from market consolidation, protected from urbanization, so long as it's done as a collective, as a group of Texans, a group of neighbors, we definitely believe it's worth a shot. These things are not permanent. If y'all prayed it and within a few years we decide, you know, it was a good try, it was a good attempt, the law very clearly states how you can basically remove. So again, I want to thank y'all for your time and for your consideration.
Thank you, Senator. Rodney Strong.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Rodney Strong. I'm a 5th generation farmer from here in Hill County, Texas. My wife and I truly grow corn, cotton, and wheat for a living. We do not have an outside job. We farm for a living. Our son hopes to be the 6th generation to continue that. When I say that solar panels, developers who've taken our farmland and broke it up into small little tracts, and maybe data centers nearby are destroying our farm, I cannot tell you a more true statement. These entities are truly harmful to our operation. When these Texas agricultural development districts came along, it caught my attention as, well, maybe this is a way for my son to continue to help him continue farming. A neighbor and I went to the Farm Bureau. They're a neutral organization that looks out for the voice of agriculture. They don't have a political agenda. Their true objective is to look out for agriculture in the state of Texas. And our question to them was, is this a legitimate argument? Is this a way that we can do good to protect agriculture? After numerous reviews legally by lawyers in and outside the organization, they produced a paper that I hope will become part of the public record today that states their opinions. It says this does not accomplish the goal that these folks wanted to accomplish. It will not, in the opinion of numerous lawyers, prevent data centers. And so even when I am sitting here knowing that these things are hurting our operation, I ask that you vote against this. This does not protect us as family farms and does not protect our land from data centers. I want to be clear, when you read through this paper, you will see towards the end, the folks in this room that are concerned, there are alternative ways that will protect their land, called Texas Agricultural Land Trust. I would encourage the folks in this room and others that are worried to talk to your representatives, maybe even consider having these data centers, these solar farms contribute to this farm. I've been in 2 meetings now where in the state of Maryland, the state of South Carolina are using these land trusts where you can actually get paid to protect your land from these developments. And it is a legitimate way to protect your land. Texas Agricultural Development Districts is not the objective to protect land from data centers. When I see the petition that they said is for these developments is to prevent data centers. That is not the objective of the TADs. The objective of those is to promote agriculture. These were originally developed back in the 90s when ethanol was becoming a big issue, try to help to promote to a blank corn production, but ethanol, excuse me, I drew a blank, ethanol production. This is to help farmers and landowners come together to build agriculture infrastructure and make it stronger in our state. This is not designed to stop data centers and solar farms. So as a farmer here in Hill County that has a very keen interest in this issue, please vote against it. And if I need to do anything to make sure this article is in public record, please let me know.
Did you hand that to the kid, Clark?
Thank you.
All right, Mr. John Sawyer.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm probably not going to say anything you haven't already heard, but I am John Sawyer. I'm a fourth generation farmer in this county. And like Rodney Shrunk, my son is looking to join the operation. I am here to ask you to vote no on an ag development district for Hill County. I don't believe they presented a proper project to be a part of. And I do not believe adding additional control in the level that this would do is appropriate for landowners and private property rights. And I add one thing. I hear a lot of conversation this morning about losing ag land. We grew 17 billion bushels of corn in this country last year. Farmers and ranchers who grow corn have suffered the last year because of low prices, because of excess supply of corn. Corn is used to feed a myriad of animals. Yes, the cattle population is down. But as Mr. Shrunk has so vividly stated from Farm Bureau, there are many opportunities to protect your private property. There's also been lots of talk of property lost eminent domain, adding another level of opportunity for it to be used against rural property owners is not the appropriate thing. Many decisions have been made to lease for solar panels, lease for windmills, and to sell for warehouses, data centers, and any kind of concrete. Those decisions, I'm sure, have been made heartfelt by the families that made them, and will be so if my family has to choose to do it. But those decisions are being made for the best interest of those making those decisions, the private property owners. Let us not vote in something today that no other county has seen fit in this state to do that might infringe upon private property rights and limit and cast a unknown out there for any development of any kind that might come to our county for the future prosperity of our next generation. Once again, I ask you to vote no. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sawyer. Mr. Lowell Williams.
Let me start. We've had quite a few misconceptions. Let me start with Miss Abney's that she's pushing so eloquently. Eminent domain. Everything, even WTG that was out at Miss Polly's place talking about a 30-inch line. They have eminent domain. The county has an eminent domain in all their verbiage. I didn't write the law like she quoted me. I didn't write the law, and I'm sorry it's in there. I am slated to be president of the Hill County Agricultural Development District. I have no interest in any of their lands. I have no interest in what they do with their land. They can sell it, no problem. As it states, they're more than capable of selling it. Sell it if that's what you want to do. But take my 744-acre ranch. When you put the Blum Data Center 50 foot from me, I'm going to lose. My property value is going to go down, and it's going to be less desirable if I want to sell it. And I have already declined selling to solar farms, data centers, because I am a third generation. I have fourth and fifth generation living on that ranch. So again, we're not after it. This is a simple solution. And no, I ain't put up no cotton gins. I made a plan for none of that, because honestly, my goal is to stop tearing up our lands, because you can just take off out 171, 22, whatever you want to call it. You got solar farms, you got wind farms, you got that monstrosity sitting out there that they're building. It is destructive, is what it is. And we can't bring that land back. Gentleman talked about putting land in a land trust. I can put my ranch in a land trust. I can never pull it back out for future generations. Farm Bureau probably didn't tell him that thing. So this is a simple solution until we get leadership or elected officials that can continue what you folks here started with your moratorium that got retracted. Till they can do something. We can't even get our governor to call for a special session when the polls show 82% of the population do not want data centers or solar farms, all this other stuff, because it is killing us. So we're not trying to take your land, your valuables, nothing. It is a simple solution to stop this excessive, and that's what it is, excessive. Take the data centers. It's slated for 4,500 plus to be built in the United States. 4,000 of that sitting over there in Hubbard or over here in Laguna Park. That is excessive. China, we're competing with China is what they're saying. No, we're not. China only has 450 something of them. So again, I am your neighbor. I am here for you and trying to protect from having these monstrosities put right next to you, killing your value. So your sixth, fifth, and sixth generations, like mine, don't have anything. Is it a simple solution? Yes, to stop the data centers. I don't know what Farm Bureau is saying it's not, but the law says it is, if we get this through. When you,
He wanted to know if he could ask you a question.
oh, ask away. Oh, you can. Oh,
If that's open forum, you get the call.
okay, well, you know, I'm open for questions in this open forum. If anybody has a question they'd like to ask me.
Let me pause your time because I don't want to take it from you. Once we close the public forum, if the court would like to recognize someone, then we could talk to that person at that time. Is that correct?
We're in public hearing.
Right, well, as far as, can he ask some questions?
I have no objection to it.
Ask away.
Public hearing.
Ask away,
Okay.
and I'll pause the time while he.
Oh, is it?
Go ahead.
So, couple of things, I've gone through this, you and I've talked about this. And there's a couple of questions that come to mind that give me pause. If the land adjacent to you is already under contract and is not a part of the agricultural district, how does the formation of the agricultural district stop them from developing their land?
So, from my understandings, I'm not a lawyer, I raise cows, so I don't, I'm gonna put it in layman's terms the way it was explained to me. I can have, we either have agriculture development district or we can incorporate in our rural communities. You get all these incorporations, it's just garbage, so we can add in, if I'm setting my ranch versus a Blum data center. In you have all the bylaws and all this other stuff, procedures. We can put a setback. That has to be away from our agricultural development district property. What that setback would be, I have no idea yet. We haven't even got this thing off the ground. They're acting, we haven't got it off the ground. So if there's a setback, you bet your butt, if it's 2,000 foot, I'll put a mobile home down there at the edge of the road, just so I know we got 2,000 foot to kill it.
So if you form this government entity and it really, and I agree with John and some of the farmers that the intent of this was for agricultural economic development, not to stop development. I'm not for the development, but I'm saying if you do this and the data center treats the agricultural district like they treated this court, you'll be in a lawsuit within a short period of time. And since you're now a government political subdivision, bankruptcy is not an option. Every track in that development is subject to the outcome of that lawsuit. And that would mean you would have to sell your land to satisfy that debt if you lost. If they sue you guys for $100 million, like they did us, where are you at that point?
Okay, my thought to that one and my philosophy, I'm gonna lose regard, if they build that data center, my value is gone.
No, I mean, if you do that, you're losing it all.
Okay, well, and I am to the point, I'll bet the farm on it, that I'm calling the ranch the farm. Because sitting in a jury of 12 of my peers, that's people like-minded to me. Just like I told you, and I believe I told Judge Braswell. Put me on that jury, I'm gonna tell RMC, dude, you're out of your mind. So I would be willing to take it that far and bet the farm on that, because when you get in Hill County or our district, which would be, I guess, Waco or Austin, but anyways, you get farmers in there, ranchers, and not these folks that are benefiting from this, because again, the poll is 82% of America is against it. I would bet that. I'm willing to take that risk because I'm basically screwed either way, if that makes sense to you.
I understand what you're saying, and not you, but the rest of us has sat here and heard about how many people would support us in lawsuit.
I was right there. I was
You were.
one of the first ones.
You were, yes, sir. You have not faltered off of that, but I can tell you, not many people that were there.
People are scared.
I'm just putting it out there. We trust in your neighbor, and some of the people that spoke in that said they would back the county did not whatsoever. And that's a difficult lesson to learn and a hard one.
And I realize that.
And I
But
don't want you to be in a position
if somebody,
where you're standing on your own.
and here's what happens, if you read or follow through, this is the hearing to establish. The commissioners court votes on it. If they pass it, guess what? It goes on the ballot, if it ain't too late for November, for a public election. That's not passing it, saying it's developed. We're just getting to the next step. Do we all got it figured out? No. But here we are sitting here, there's more set up to be built. But take mine, for example. There's so many shell names. You can't track none of it. I know they put in TCQ air quality. They're planning on going forward. But if it can be stopped before they break ground, well, guess what? We've got the ability. And that's what I'm trying to do. They're wanting to put more solar farms, wind farms in down here. Plus there's more solar farms going in down here between Bonham and Abbott. It's killing us. I'm not making a profit off of it. There's others that are involved. And I'm right out here with it. I haven't wavered one bit since we started this journey. You know, take our politicians, Miss Orr. Which side does she stand on? Because one day she says she supports it, then she says she don't, and she's trying to get legislation. I'm straight out. I don't want it. It's killing us, and it's going to hurt us.
Can we move this along?
Go ahead. This gentleman don't want to hear me talk, so proceed.
I don't have any.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. I don't have anyone else signed up for open forum at this, or public hearing. So we'll go ahead and move to number 11, closing the public hearing. We'll move to number 12, discuss consideration or possible action on the petition to the creation of the agricultural development district within Hill County, Texas, and any related matters. So I'd like to start this off with, I informed you gentlemen that I had a phone call with Miss Lashman. Miss Lashman is an agricultural attorney. She works for the Ag Extension Agency, I believe. She heavily advises in agricultural law. I called her after I read the law. I called her to make sure that I understood it and try to get some insight into the history, what it was meant for, how we got here, and why hasn't it been used in 25 years. She said that they were working on basically a white paper to put out some type of guidance and opinion from the Texas Farm Bureau. So I would like to read that document. It's not super long, it's 2 pages, so bear with me. But I'd like to read that document for your review, gentlemen. So Texas Farm Bureau, a review of Texas Agricultural Development Districts, Texas Agricultural Code, Chapter 60, August 13th, 2026. In recent weeks, there has been a lot of buzz regarding petitions to create Texas agricultural development districts in counties throughout the state using an obscure 25-year-old statute that has never been used. Some have suggested that these districts could be a tool to prevent data center developments. What is a TAD? How can it be used? What is its intended function? In 2001, the Texas legislature passed House Bill 1880. This legislation added Chapter 60 to the Texas Agricultural Code, TAC, codifying the creation of Texas Agricultural Development Districts, TADs. The intent of TAC Chapter 60 was to further the public purpose of improving the economy of this state by providing incentives for the development of agricultural operations and facilities. It was envisioned that these TADs would provide needed incentives for groups of farmers or ranchers to partner to make capital investments, improve financing opportunities, and expand local and regional agricultural infrastructure and the overall economy. How are TADs created? To create a TAD, 10 residents of a county, 5 of which must reside or own land within the boundaries of the proposed TAD, can petition the county's commissioner's court. The petition must include, but is not limited to, the following information listed in TAC 60.022. 1, the physical boundaries of properties included in the TAD. 2, signatures and consent from all landowners included in the TAD. 3, a list of 5 qualifying board members willing to serve until elections are held for those positions. 4, the purpose of creating the TAD. And finally, 5, the cost of the development project estimated by the petitioners. Once received, the County Commissioner's Court is required to call a public hearing to consider the application within 30 days of submittal. At that hearing, any person may present evidence and testify for or against the petition. If approved by the Commissioner's Court, the TAD must file the approved petition with the county clerk within 48 hours. The TAD must also file with the Texas Department of Agriculture within 7 days. The Texas Department of Agriculture must approve the TAD. However, that review and approval process is not clearly articulated by TAC Chapter 60. What authority does the TAD have? TAC Chapter 60 gives TADs the authority to develop, own, finance, operate, and support agricultural projects, innovative technologies, and development. It also provides TADs the ability to assess fees on agricultural production and or land within the boundaries of the district to generate revenue to carry out the functions of the district. TADs can issue bonds, loan money, receive grants and donations, establish investment accounts, and market agricultural goods and services. TADs also have the power of eminent domain within the boundaries of the district to facilitate the development of infrastructure that it would own and operate. It should be noted that this was not a broad grant of powers of eminent domain. It was envisioned that TAC 60 would aid in the development of projects like cotton gins, grain terminals, rail spurs, ethanol refineries, and other agricultural infrastructure projects and improvement. What are limitations of TAD? TAD cannot adopt zoning ordinances. It cannot establish land use classifications. It cannot deny development permits for private lands. It cannot regulate building density. It cannot establish setback requirements. It cannot generally restrict any landowner's use of property, even within the boundaries of the district. The statutory power granted to TADs does not include the power to engage in zoning or land use restrictions. TADs cannot force or compel any landowner to include property in the district. TADs have no authority to block the sale or use of private land, even within the district. The rights of landowners to contract for a sale of their property are not changed if located within a TAD. In addition, the petition requires TADs to clearly state the district's purpose and nature. Preservation of agricultural lands may exceed the scope of TAC Chapter 60. Are there alternative projects to agricultural land from data center development? A growing number of Texans are rolling their farms and ranch lands and agricultural conservation easements through organizations like Texas Agricultural Land Trust to ensure their farms will remain in agricultural production for perpetuity. To learn more about agricultural and conservation easements, visit Texas Agricultural Land Trust. So that was the document that was forwarded to me by Ms. Lashmet. And I wanted you guys to be aware of that document. And discussion.
I make a motion, we reject this. I don't think it'll do what they want to do, and I think it cause more trouble. There's too many things in there that aren't defined well enough to be accurate, so you can read things quite a few different ways depending on the attorneys, and I don't think the thing is written well enough to.
Your motion was to reject it?
Yes.
I second that.
Yeah, I have some concerns for unintended consequences for people that are involved in it. Because the first thing that would occur if an attempt was to stop the data center using this would be a lawsuit. I think you guys would be on the hook for something that.
If I understood it right, if I own private, it were be in the board district. And I own property next door to Jim. If I wanted to sell my property, it'd have to go to the board for approval.
No,
I thought that's the way it sounded.
no,
No, they don't have control.
they don't have any.
But that's
I know.
the point.
Hmm.
If you sold your land and to a data center development,
Right next door to you.
I couldn't stop.
Mhm.
Under
To
the.
your private rights of your land, if you sold it to the data center, that was your choice and that can't come back and stop it. They can't.
Yeah, I've been waiting for 4 years now, so it's supposed to, 1,000 acres across the way is supposed to be a solar farm someday.
Yeah.
And thank goodness they're still farming it, but.
That's the question. That's the lovely thing we have in our right with our land. We, here in Texas, we have rights, what we want to do, what we can, what we are willing to do with it. And I think this is gonna, to an extent, take away our rights.
There's a way to stop them and we hadn't figured it out.
Neither.
Neither's anybody else,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And absent action at the state level. Or the federal level, I don't think it's gonna happen.
You're not gonna get any help from my lady, I don't think.
Get a motion.
I have a motion and a second. Personally, I apologize that you guys are all watching me grow and learn. For the last year and a half that I've been here.
You apologize for that.
Well, sometimes it's messy when you're learning, right? The thing that I keep coming back to as we talk about the Constitution and Pledge of Allegiance and our oaths of office and such is Benjamin Franklin said those who give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty or safety.
Amen.
Until we get help from higher government. That's what we have to do is protect what we can. I call a vote. All in favor of Commissioner Lake's motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll move to. Back to number 1.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
No, I have enrolled. I'm in the process of getting my T code. I believe November class is the next one I can get. So I will have that if this other fire marshal. Well,
Eventually, we may be looking at.
well, I'm trying to get ahead of the curve. So,
Thank you, sir. Ready? Yeah, all right. We're gonna go ahead and move on to number one, discuss interaction on employee wage and status changes with our new hires. Ariel Harden, Lauren Newman, Robert Calkins, Tammy Triggs, wage status changes, Kimberly Sanders, Ronnie Glenn, Robert Calkins, Julie Magnum, Tina Lincoln, Angie Buck, and Tina Rodriguez, Mr. Flores, Mr. Pettis, Mr. Wells, separation of Kelsey Lewis, Ernest Richardson, Ronnie Wilford, Mr. Mendoza, Mr. Otten, and Ms. Triggs.
Make a motion.
Second. There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Number two, discuss interaction on monthly reports for July 2026.
Make a motion approve.
Like it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Discussion, number three, discuss interaction on regarding opening a line of credit with O'Reilly Auto Parts for Commissioner Precinct 1.
Make a motion.
I have a motion
Yeah,
and a
I would
second.
like to see that for all precincts.
Submit your deal.
I'd like to amend that to precinct 4 also.
Yes.
Cheating.
All.
You don't get to piggyback on my effort.
Well, the only problem is you don't have a contract.
Okay.
He's got a contract.
They're a little cheaper now than that.
Are they?
Yeah, so they.
Well, bring us a contract and we'll put it on the next thing.
Yeah, all precincts.
All right. Right. I have a motion and a second.
Should all.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, number four, discuss interaction regarding a budget amendment to reallocate $30,000 from construction materials to repairs for the precinct number 4.
Make a motion to approve that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
We're just about out of money, so there's a decent chance they have to shut down before September.
Shut down when?
Before September.
Tell me about it.
All right, number five, discuss interaction regarding the budget amendment to transfer $50,000 from contingency to autopsy and transport to provide additional public assistance.
At this point, autopsy and transport expenditures have exceeded the budgeted amount. The original budget amount was $185,000. We already did a $50,000 budget amendment. And so the total budget was $235,000. Expenditures to date are $266,238, which we're already over budget by $31,000. So this $50,000 is just to.
Barely catches you.
Yeah, it gives us an extra 20, the way they've been coming in, that could be next week.
Make a motion.
Just for your gentleman's information, we had a meeting the other day with our funeral homes that provide service for the county. We are going to be bringing you a policy and how we work with those funeral homes. There hasn't been one in existence. So we are going to be bringing you a policy, and we've also, I've had Ms. Cook, April Cook, looking at other providers for autopsy services. And from the research that we've done so far, the one that we use is the cheapest one. That can provide certified autopsies that will be able to stand up in court should there be any type of criminal investigations. They have the chain of custody, things that have to happen. If you had a homicide or something like that, they would testify in court. There's no sense. We are doing our due diligence to see if we can get it cheaper, but it ain't looking like it.
Look forward to getting that.
So I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Number 6, discuss interaction regarding donation of 500 tons of base rock from Road 22 for precinct number 3.
Make a motion. Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
They gonna haul that for you?
They hauled part of it. And we hauled the rest of it, and actually, we're in the middle of getting significantly more than that.
Good for you.
Number 7, discuss interaction regarding the residential and non-residential contracts and interagency agreement for placement services and support for juvenile offenders for the Hill County Juvenile Probation Department.
Oh, no, Tina.
Good morning. These are, of course, all of our contracts that we utilize for detention, for placement, for our non-residential services, including psychiatrists, psychology, all of those different things, and we just need approval. We've already taken them before the juvenile board for approval. David's had an opportunity to review all those contracts, and so we're just asking for approval.
Are those annual renewals?
Most of them are, there's, I think, 2 or 3 that are every other year, but most of them are every year.
We've seen.
How's our net working out?
It is remarkable. We actually have a kiddo in there right now. I mean, and I'll be honest, every year is gonna look a little bit different, whenever you talk about detention. But we use those beds on a very regular and consistent basis. Sometimes they're full all the time, other times they're not full at all. But having that from a law enforcement perspective and the ability to detain when we need to is important. Not only that, but then we also have the measure that we often use in like drug court, for instance. If we have a violation of probation, we're able to detain some of those youth as an opportunity to get their attention, or possibly looking at moving them into another placement opportunity. So that value is just something that's incredible. David could probably talk to it as well as, and Judge Brassel, your experience with it before. Law enforcement having the ability in the middle of the night to be able to take a kid to a facility and get processed within 30 minutes to an hour maximum is significant for public safety. So it's important.
I think Martin should, since he hasn't been here, should know a little bit. That costs us how much a year?
So
we have two beds that we pay for around the clock here.
yes, we have 2 beds, $275 a day for those 2 beds. So they actually went up $25. I did not ask for an increase in that, just simply because I do have some overage of budget. But it's what was the total? I think $180,000 a year.
Yeah.
And so what that allows for us to do is, if we have a juvenile that is needing to be detained, we have that bed available to us. What happens if we don't have those prepaid beds is we're calling 12 to 15 facilities. This is why my book is so long in trying to get a detention bed. And we have gone as far as Victoria County to detain a juvenile. And then we've gone as far as Lubbock County to detain a juvenile. And so we started this, I think it was 3 to 4 years ago. And since then, we're able just to appropriately detain as needed. And it is a cost to the county, but most of my budget is actually state dollars. And then I apply for a bunch of grants, which I mentioned to you earlier when I came and talked with you. So it is an expense to the county. I will never say that it is not, but it is one from a public safety perspective that is vital to our success. Our kids are different today. If you would have been here for our budget hearings, you would have been able to see the list, and I'm happy to share that with you. And I think that that's really valuable information for you guys to have as you're making that commitment of those dollars. Is we're not just detaining kids for Class A or Class B misdemeanors for theft at Walmart. We have cases such as aggravated assault. We have cases such as robbery. And so those are all significant, and I can share a copy of that with you. I'll send it to you so you can review that, because that was part of our budget proposal for this year. So our kids are different today than they were many years ago.
I need to make a point, come out and
Yes.
see y'all and pull
Yeah.
around like I did the jail. That was very eye-opening on my part.
Yeah, I'd love.
I know I got criticized for it, but I
Yeah.
just felt that was a good.
I'd love for you to see
Good thing I
that
need to do,
as well as
so I can allocate. see
Yeah.
What's going on in the jail.
So for instance, when I was just a piece of the juvenile drug program and having the tool of, if I get a juvenile that is consistently not doing what I'm asking them to, or her. Because it's about split now. Having the ability to send them to a detention facility for a 3-day getaway. Their attitude is completely different when they come by. And we get some movement in the right direction generally. Not 100% success, nothing is, but just having, and those are very, we use discretion very much in those. We're not sending kids regularly. And like she said, when she sends you that list, if you'll look, the majority of the kids that were housed were either felonies or violent misdemeanors. And like she said, the offenses are mind blowing. So.
And getting younger.
And so having those 2 beds on standby, yes, we pay for them all the time, whether we use them or not. But having those 2 beds on standby is a huge benefit for the county.
But doing the most expensive one on your list, like $350 a day.
Yeah, Bell County is $350 a day. So if we were having to call, and literally what I do when we're on call, my staff has a list of facilities that they would call. And we would be up in the middle of the night, literally calling a list of 10 to 12 facilities. And there was, I think, one or 2 occasions total that we couldn't even find a bed, and we definitely needed to detain. And so that of course happened with the COVID pandemic. There's still staffing issues within the facilities. We have the TJJD wait list that is not going away. That inhibits our ability to get those detention beds. And so when we have a need for one, having that ability it's been game changer for the county and really from a public safety perspective, more so than anything. Just being mindful about that. We also have our JJP program, which we currently have 7 students in our program. So we are very, very busy in all of the work that we're doing, and do a lot of prevention work, as I mentioned the events before as well. And so that piece of what you guys do for the county, y'all provide our operating expenses, and then you provide that prepaid bed. It's been a lifesaver for us. Absolutely.
Make a motion.
Yeah.
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Number 8, approval of the sublease between Hill County and Chisholm Trail Park Incorporated for the management of Chisholm Trail Park on Lake Whitney. The property is leased by Hill County from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
We had a long roll, please.
We finally got this thing done, huh?
You still have that?
2 years into it, I make a motion.
You got a motion.
Thank you, David.
Second. And a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I didn't realize there was a government agency that was slower than you thought they were.
You started with government.
Yes, it was Corps of Engineers.
Not, I've got some kind to the association for the very good.
You want me to sign it, you will send it to.
The judge, I need to send it to. Okay.
Well, we'll get it.
Gotta go around here.
Um,
No signatures except yours.
Back history on that. Commissioner Duke, there's a core park in the north, western part of the county, north of Blum, that has been there for a very long time. Really cool park. It's been unoperable for a long time. The Corps was kind of trying to abandon it. The residents.
They were getting ready.
Yeah, not kind of, they were abandoning it. The residents that live around there's kind of a community around there. They didn't want to see the park abandoned because it is a neat spot. It's got a boat ramp, those things. It's right on the river. It's north of Lake Whitney. And so they put together a corporation, and they're going to be leasing it from us so they can take care of it. So,
Good. And they've already gone through and got all the riprap out of there. There's none of the drug usage. They've got security. They've uplifted the entrance. We're helping them with the roads in the park. And they've cleaned up some of the picnic tables and are bringing the whole thing up to.
It's something that somebody, the public will use. I have one in mind that was a Hackberry XS that 4 or 5 years ago, they never did take care of it. It grew up with nasty trash, and we did not renew it. They keep the gate closed on it now.
We actually leased it from the board and then we subleased it for the association.
Oh, okay.
So they basically taken on all our obligations to the board.
Oh. All right, moving on. Number 9, discuss interaction on a contract between Hill County and Calibrate in the amount of $7,500 to provide local mapping for new business prospects.
Ask that be taken tonight.
There were some changes that needed to happen to that contract, so Mr. Holmes is requesting that that be
And
paid.
just discuss it a little bit. The contract as it was sent is between the company and the city of Hillsborough. And we're paying for all of it, so I think the contract has to be less. The city will use it and benefit from it, but we're gonna pay for it.
So with, am I licensed to use it or has it? Or-
All right, so that one's taken. Number 10, public hearing, no, we did that. We did 10, 11, 12. Number 13, budget workshop. Oh, boy. Nice
Jump
try.
right down to number 6.
Okay, you guys have had time to review the proposed budget of the 5.
Yes.
Whatever it was, Friday, last
Yes, sir.
Friday, a week ago, Friday, whatever. Do I have any suggestions, things you hate, things you love? Let me open something to take notes if you guys got anything. There have been some changes to that already. Miss Peavy, do you have any input on any of the changes that have happened?
Stephen and I have had some back and forth, we just made sure with the city on the TERS amount. So we did input the TERS amount, we proposed as not paying it this next year. But they suggested, the attorney that we were contacted back and forth suggested we go ahead and pay it. And then they can return the funds we've overpaid in prior years.
Okay.
So we did update that.
So what were the changes since we last saw it?
But that's one of the changes. I believe Ms. Parker.
Judge?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. This is Ms. Parker.
Okay, so I added in the open enrollment selections to the budget book since it's been printed for the commissioners, as well as added in the short-term disability and some rounding for decimal points.
So when I filed the proposed, obviously, we didn't have the insurance stuff in yet because we had just done open enrollment like the day before or whatever. And then the court also passed the short-term disability for the employees. That has also been added in there. So there will be some numbers fluctuating until we get closer. The first is when we plan to adopt the tax rate and adopt the proposed budget. That will be September 1st.
So we didn't already adopt.
You adopt, you did it, you voted on a proposed tax rate, and the proposed budget is what is out right now.
Okay.
On September 1st is when we
Finalize that.
finalize all of that. Correct. And that agenda will come out now. We're gonna court agenda. Yes, perfect.
I know the farmers have got an increase, we're doing across the board 3.5%. Can I give a extra 3% out of my budget to my employees? Out of my budget, without counting. These guys deserve it, earn it. And
they're getting ready.
I'm already down to 5, maybe 3. I've got to do something.
That's when we still had a 3.5% raise. We could have given everybody a really nice raise and got them back up to where they should be, like we promised the last 4 years. And
I understand the situation about the 3.5% cost of county, but I take it out of my budget, the extra.
Well, so the question is, we have a system in place. If you give yours 3.5%, what keeps his employees from quitting and going to work for you?
I'm for it for all 4 precincts.
Okay.
If they're willing for it.
Okay. We also have every other employee in the county.
I understand that. I've been fighting for this for 5 years.
Same. So do we want to raise every other employee up 3.5% as well?
I think it should be. Well, we paid 71,000 to change the sick leave pool to this program. We paid $50,000 to go to the electronic payroll. Why can't we find another 3%? There's money been found for other things. Money has been found. for other
I ain't arguing with you. I ain't arguing with you. If that's what you guys want to do, I'll make it work.
Yeah.
I'll find it. Now, when you look at your budgets,
It's gonna look different.
it's gonna look different then.
That's true too. You know, our budget is in there. Did we get 100,000 from Indian Health?
Yes, sir.
We've gotten that in the last couple of years.
Yes.
And our budgets have been,
Your budget's higher than it's ever been.
and, you
But
know.
you're getting 12%.
Mhm.
Before I took office, you were getting 8.25.
Yeah.
That's true.
I've given as much as I possibly can.
Yeah. You know,
But if your desire is to do this, I will try to work it in the budget. Now, looking forward into next year, as Ms. Phoebe has warned, you know, we're gonna get 27 million. These are round numbers. Don't quote me on them. I'm just throwing numbers out there, right? We got $27 million in revenue this year. We're gonna get $27 million in revenue next year. As long as you adopt no new revenue. I don't know what new construction is gonna be. It could very well absorb this. And you get $30 million next year, and then you would be guaranteed $30 million a year after that. So I'm not saying it's fiscally irresponsible. I'm also saying it's not fiscally conservative.
yeah. You know, when I came in as a commissioner, I went through three disasters and earned money to buy the equipment that the county didn't pay for. That, well, precinct paid for it from disasters that we had to start improving the roads, thinking the budget would get better to improve these roads. And now it hasn't happened. And now I've got 90 miles of chip seal roads that I can't repair. Every year, it's the same thing. And, you know, people fight against the data centers and windmills and solars, but I look at it as an income for the county to help the county to do what we need to do. And, you know, I don't want them either. I don't want the solar system crossing my property either, but it may happen. But I look at it to help the county to improve what it needs, the way it needs to be.
And there will be a tax income.
Yeah.
Positive.
And I have heard it has sold again. I don't know.
We're not hearing much from solar and then at least at my level lately. But I gotta hunt the guys down from
Yeah, subsidies, the way they need to be.
So you'd like. I'm gonna work on a 3.5% raise on top of the 3.5 for cost of living. I will work on a 3.5 raise across the board for all employees, not electeds.
Not elected, no.
Well, it doesn't matter if you want it or not. In the paper, it's
It
set.
does.
Now,
I didn't want to start.
it's gonna mess up.
Gonna
our
put us at
pay
black
scale.
again where we
Now,
will just.
What my plan is for this year, talking with some other county judges and all, is I would like to, in November, put together a group of electeds and appointeds, one commissioner and some electeds and appointeds, and sit down and have a conversation about salaries. Not paying for a salary step. We paid and paid and paid, and they come at us with unrealistic expectations as to what we can afford. Right?
It's the structure.
So we have a structure in place. The structure is fine. It's the numbers that aren't right. Right? So, well, no, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right. The structure could use some work as well, because there's a huge gap between your foreman and your second, right? And that needs to be examined. There's a very small gap between the chief deputy and the sheriff. That needs to be examined. Obviously, we can't pay what the counties north or south of us are
I
paying.
understand that.
But if a group of us sit down with the collective insight of this, we are not deciding what's best for my office, we're deciding what's best for Hill County employees as a whole. then I feel like we can get somewhere. I wanna start that in November. And then by January, I wanna start with the auditor and the treasurer, start our budget cycle. Okay, and then by April, I would like to put another group together, probably consisting of many of the same people that did the salary deal. And start budget hearings. Not talking to our electeds, but kicking around, we're expecting to have this much money, because we know we're gonna have 27.
Right.
How are we gonna break up the 27 to accomplish this salary thing that we talked about? And this other thing that we talked about, some expenses that Ms. Phoebe has. So when we hit May, June, July, and August, well, there's no rush of, oh my gosh, it's budget season, we gotta come up with these numbers, we don't have this, we don't have that. We already have
The
a
foundation.
framework in line to then make these tougher decisions that are only on us.
That's right.
But we have way more information to make those decisions. That's, what's that?
I would think that if you're gonna go over to that type of plan, that you don't just do 1 year, that you at least do 2.
That'd do 2 years out.
Not that you have to accept the second year, not that you have to pass or have any action on the second year, but to look for at least 2. And then eventually do a 3 to 5 year projection of budgetary, because you know what it's gonna be.
Right.
You can guesstimate what your expenses are, even year to year. Eventually, I'd like to see it 3 to 5.
Let's get out of that. But I think we can start absolving some of this problem that we have. By one, starting our budget process more than 2 months before it has to be done.
Yes.
That it's too much. It's too much of a rush.
For everybody.
Yeah.
So you're saying take maybe a couple of departments on each agenda and have a more.
No, not even, it won't even be in court. This will be a separate committee. It will not be a quorum. There will be some electeds that have knowledge and stake, and a commissioner to provide the court's deal, and I'd probably be around as well. To sit in and just, none of it's all recommendations. None of it is a contract.
It's not on paper yet.
Yeah, and just say, hey, these are the priorities. And these are where we're slacking in the county at financially as far as our employees or road base or whatever. These are the goals of these individual offices. So how do we give you your goals and how do we give you your goals? And let a bunch of people that aren't involved in the process right now sit down and see the realities of it.
Yeah, I just look at it, you go to my wife's little car, holds 16 gallons. And it costs $60-80 to fill it up.
I filled
My
up my
employees drive.
my diesel truck the other day.
I always drive to work in
525.
a couple of them are on the county family is on insurance.
Right.
One time they take all that out,
No,
I mean,
Yeah.
I know you understand.
I'm agreeing with you.
But
Well, I'm with Larry on the 3%. If there's a way that we can do that, we need to do it.
Do be aware that if we do a 3.5 across the board raise, which would be 3.5 above electeds, that next year you will be at this table having the discussion of raising your salary at least 6%.
I got a question here. I was thinking about this afterwards, trying to find set the percentage aside. Now, as Martin said last time, like, hey, go up. This time if we're done, come around next year. If we go in, our base is 27 million. All right, I'll just throw easy random numbers out there. If we go in for up our 3% across the board, which we consider is turned down. Say it added $4 million to the budget. If we take and then the overall expenses would come up, and this year was 27 because that's where we were at, nickels and nickels. Next year it went up 28. There's a balance of $3 million. If there was a possible way we could, and 3 million may be too much for, I'm gonna say raise, or you call it a raise, take that number, not percentage, because my percentage would be higher than their percentage or vice versa.
Make a flat.
Divided among, if you got X amount of employees elected down to whichever, the whole 9 yards, if you got 500 total employees, take that number, if it's $3 million, even if you bumped it down $2 million, divided among that many employees you have, and everybody got the exact, if it ended up being $5,000 more a yearly added to their salaries, that's what it would be. That would keep our basis, you know, and then you can't say, well, you got paid more, so you got a higher percentage, because
Yeah.
and
Take
I'm
the
new to
percentage,
this,
I
but
know.
No, I mean, I didn't, it's been.
I was just,
For sure.
I was really thinking this through, and I wasn't gonna bring it up now, but since.
How did that work, Rico? When
I just know that everybody got a set dollar.
it got flat?
Possible.
There you go.
Yeah, they took the percentage out.
It makes much more sense as a.
And it keeps all the spaces, am I right, if we're good?
You continue to have this gap that continues to grow. And yeah, admittedly, everybody would like that 3% when you're in a higher salary, but when you're in that lower salary, it doesn't mean the work or the value of your work is not as important as person.
Not material.
So,
Yeah, so I think that I absolutely agree that that would be a better approach.
You know, I mean, and then it would even close our gap, just as us commissioners and our foremen, you know, I mean, it's not our percentages. Our percentage is gonna be more than theirs will be, so the gap's gonna get a little bigger every time. We won't have to go
well,
back and.
so that's the question I was about to present. The other aspect to raising 3.5%. Would be retirement benefits. Right, so that also hits our budget. It's not just what goes into the paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which would. Also under your scenario, it would
Yeah,
still,
go up.
it would still,
Yeah.
but. That's a question that I'll entertain to you, instead of 3.5%, where we would get the most benefit, or. We
Yeah.
wouldn't, because we're capped, but. Would a flat rate amount be more appealing?
It depends on.
Anything, Lisa. I would say, that I think you need to be careful about this for your elections too.
Yeah.
I would say that you need to have a baseline of the CPI across the board, and that you can do for the employees. I mean, I think the electeds need a COLA based on the CPI. And then you want to pay the employees more on a market basis. That's what you do as an employer.
Yeah.
It depends on. How much that amount would be,
Right.
you know,
But I'm not talking about now, I mean, this was. I know that, but I wasn't thinking of this for now, I was thinking of this for the future.
250.
So I was thinking of, hey,
220.
incoming tax next year, hey, we'd go up 1%, 2%. And that money we could allocate for.
210. That's this hard, this is nice.
I think we.
Ish.
I think we're not
ish.
far off in the future from having a new chief appraiser as well.
Yeah.
And I think I would include that person in these discussions.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I gotta get a new whiteboard. Election so mine. You know, I used to have a whiteboard in my office where I could. Get this out of my brain and on something you could see. I gave it to elections, something like that.
If you raised everybody from the $225,000, that would be $1,050,000.
Is that on?
That's why I was meaning it for next year with the show tax wise.
So,
400.
well, that's a,
380,000.
that's $1 million. Without including benefits, yeah.
It's gonna be a.
That 20% more.
1.25%, bro. 25%.
You got 765 and you're paying.
And we're nickels and nickels on our budget as we speak at the moment.
So 18% on top of the.
Oh,
Oh, 18%.
18%.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, he was saying,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
20%. Yeah.
So that's. Good.
$4,056.
Yeah, I take that. It's fine, I just-
4,000 would be. 56.
Let's say 1,000. Sounded good.
25%.
Well, 3,000 would be a 250 month raise.
Where's that money gonna come from? I said the $1 million question.
Well, it can't clean out your road and bridge. because
Yeah,
your road and bridge is
all of it.
protected.
It's almost $1 million.
So I'd have to
That's
lower,
why
I'd
you have to go up or.
have to lower your road and bridge from 12%. At least 8%.
Wow.
And give the general fund more to cover $1 million. I don't even have $1 million contingencies right now. Budgeted, I've got what, 565,000, 545,000 in contingencies?
That's thin. That's real thin.
Yeah, the elevator goes out and
You're done.
Yeah, because this is supposed to be a wet year.
it is supposed to be.
And we'll have washouts and everything else.
Judge Brazel,
Yes, ma'am.
can you look at Fund 201? We'll just use Commissioner Holcomb as an example.
I can't because I can't on this computer.
Okay, do you have a printed copy of that budget that you presented to the commissioners?
Do we have a printed copy of the proposed budget? I think we do. Give us just 1 second.
Yes, sir. I just kind of want to walk through the scenario based on what Commissioner Crumpton was saying. And I think having a visual will help put this into perspective.
Perfect. Give us just a second. I thought you were talking about 200 grand. We can find 200 grand. But and a million, a lot of millions. Yeah.
We've been scrimping the road for 12 years with our budgets.
And I'm not arguing going.
Well,
I'm not really for doing that by no means. I know I'm new to
Hard
it.
reality is, at some point, we're gonna have, if we're gonna keep up with the growth of the county, we're gonna have to do the road bond issue. As much as nobody wants to face them.
You said Fund 2.
201.
Okay, I got 200. Yeah, 201. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm on my way down. If y'all can give me just a second.
Oh, okay. We'll wait for you. Probably starting back. Thank you.
Yeah, it's nothing a $30 million road bond won't fix.
That'll be easy to pass.
Hey, it's coming.
Go ahead and tax the data center.
100 billion.
Well, we've talked about that, but the problem with taxing the data center is you still can only make 27 million.
That was the purpose of.
That's the purpose of abatements. But we're not doing abatements.
Abatement. They did not seek abatement.
Well, there will be some in the future that I fulfill will at least seeking.
But they did.
They didn't. Yes, she's making copies of this so I can hand it out.
So
She's got it.
if I'm doing this right, Larry, you want to give a 3 or 3.5 on top of, but out of your budget.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna use Jim as the example.
Should give it.
Okay.
Yeah, she was on there, she was speaking. Alright, so. What you have in front of you, gentlemen, is Road and Bridge 1.
Okay. So let's think about this. Your wages, giving a raise isn't just increasing the dollar amount per employee. You also have the retirement to factor in, Social Security, Medicare, all of that. So what lines down below are you wanting to take that from?
Out of precinct 1.
That's the budget you have in front of you, but I'm not gonna let you do that.
No, I just use Jim as an example. I mean, the same thing applies for 2, 3.
If we can figure out where it comes from.
Where is it gonna come from out of your budget
I've got precinct one. Why am I looking at precinct one?
It was just an
It's
example,
an
Oh.
example.
just an example.
So for instance, if he wants to raise this 3.5%, you would just essentially add 3.5% to that number.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so that's total salaries and benefits at 782, 510. Add 3.5% to that. Figure out what the difference is,
And where you.
and then draw it out of anything below that.
And
I think mine's only like 6 on them.
And I was crunching numbers upstairs, it's just gonna really leave you short in your budget if you do that. Which is gonna cut into either your construction materials, you can't really cut into your utilities, your fuel, not so much. I mean miscellaneous repairs, machine and equipment.
How much are you looking at?
I haven't got that far yet, but when I started,
100,000? 50,000?
What is it, 6, 7?
I'd have to look at all your staff wages and then do the math, but I wanna be sure that I'm understanding what you're trying to accomplish.
Because like Jim's got quite a few.
23,000.
So you comes out as FM lateral
But
gas
again-
payments.
That would just be him,
That would just,
and then.
yeah,
And not every office has
At least.
right.
the donut.
And not every
Yeah.
office has that. to
That's
work
gonna,
with.
that's gonna be the more red.
You go
flag.
to, then you go to the JP office, they don't have
They don't have.
2,000.
Right, and we also don't have it countywide, obviously.
Well, I mean, like I said, we can adjust some things and make it work.
Yeah.
See what it does.
Right, but I just wanted to.
We're not here about it. If, I mean, I'll just.
Well, what I'll do is we'll run numbers. Or we'll do some work. And on the first, because that's our very next meeting, I'll have some various proposed budgets. I suppose. And give you the scenarios. Again, I would like to start this process in about January. So we don't have to do this.
And there's our evaluation forms for everybody already, because we were pretty clear last work.
We were.
Also too, has number been figured for any, the precincts carryovers?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they're all on your budget book that you got. If you look at the recap page, you'll see your ending balance in each one of those. And Mr. Dudek is winning.
Yeah, you don't have it.
Had thought to start.
And I get 14. I didn't.
I still got.
Yes. And those are, right now, those are estimated numbers because of revenues and expenditures. And the way that the budget flows, but that's what's left in those.
By the time we cross the finish line, it won't look like that.
No.
I don't think it works. And I'm voting.
They get out-
I think it'll have to be a next year.
They get out of contingency. They get out.
You didn't have it.
You don't have enough in contingency. Yeah, you don't have enough in contingency.
That's why they were telling us to go take 3% on our raises.
And we did I've heard that for many employees, just overall take their structure, increase it by the same dollar amount, so everyone gets the same increase. Rather than if you take judges compared to a level custodian, the percentage is completely different. If you just raise our pay structure completely, everyone gets the same.
And that was kind of my thought to fixing the issues that Commissioner Compton was talking about our guys being, and girls in the courthouse. If we raise everyone across the board the exact same amount, now you're incrementally chipping away at that. Instead of every year just saying, well, this is a cost of living.
And you never
Not chipping away
catch
at- Again, we're never gonna touch the counties on this, but we have to at least stay
competitive, some
close.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think it'll have to be
Another year.
next
Uh,
year.
we'll run some numbers, but I believe you could. I believe you.
It's just,
I think that's my. And I do think we're gonna see some interesting numbers next year as well. Between the new construction, there's a lot on new construction that's gonna hit tax roll. This next one, I think we might be able to stretch our legs a little bit.
Use to fund that. So you'll still keep the dollars in your budget that you need for those services, contract services, fuel, miscellaneous, all your utilities. You're not having to pull those dollars out.
You know, road and bridge, my salary is 3/4 of my budget. And there's not a whole lot of construction or fuel or repairs out of it.
And you just taking away from it to bump them up, that's fair either.
It's gonna hurt you. Well, and what I guess what we would like to do in the first iteration in November with this group coming together about salaries. Well, I guess not then, in the first iteration in
November.
May or April.
Yeah, I have to get the structures.
Saying, hey, the priority with this moving forward is to ensure that we can correct this issue. And that would be the main priority. And then move forward from it. So,
Yeah, one other thing to keep in mind is. Economy development wouldn't be as strong as the other one, and. You gotta keep paying in salaries,
even in
most of the economy goes in the tank.
Right.
And so it's a balance of balance.
You know, every time a deputy gets certified, they get a big bump. And majority of them is $30 plus an hour.
Yeah.
Yes. There's no certification for road and bridge.
No, but no, your job description.
Well, we can make one.
I was about to say, that's
We can
easy.
make one.
I mean, when's the last time when you guys were in the training?
Training? Forever.
Well, they have to do, yeah, but like ours, they're 80 hours on you.
I started.
I mean,
16 years of training.
well, so the sheriff's office, they've got 16 years of training, but they have mandatory training they have to do for the state.
You know, yeah.
So it's not apples.
They just learn by the seat of their
But.
Yeah.
That, I started working earlier this year, I started working on kind of a knockoff structure to what the sheriff's department has. And operator 1, 2, 3, foreman, and level those up in tier 1, 2, 3, 4. And have training certificates for motor grader, just different types of road work.
Right.
And
I tried that a few months ago. It didn't go.
well, we
You have to put the stuff in place, you can't just.
Yeah, and I think in November, some structure like that or similar for the road and bridge guys would make some sense.
Well, and I would agree with that. I know the justice and peace offices, their clerks have certifications as well. I don't know about county clerk's office. I know you have probate stuff.
The same way.
So yeah, I know Christie has the same. So again, thinking about the entire county and all of the employees, I think that's how we have to approach it.
I think that's why we have the general labor 1 and 2, then the operator 1, 2, 3, 4, and the foreman, because we went through those job descriptions just a couple years ago to make them what you can even.
Yeah, but I think what Larry's still saying is it's just that amount on foreman or
You're so
road
far-
grader
so
3
far-
is just too low. It's just plain and simple. That's what he's. So the easy fix to that is the flat, we need to do the flat board rate. Flat bump.
All my operators are blade operators. I only
Yeah.
have one, it's not.
Right. Yeah. I think that's the easiest. I feel the exact same. I'm foreman. Yeah.
As soon as I think. If they show up.
Yeah.
Once you're top level, you're.
You're there.
And then if proper positions.
Yeah.
Run the numbers and see what happens.
I'll run some numbers. Bring back some figures. Bring back the money trees. Don't hate me, Phil. All right, any further discussion? Anything else in the budget besides salaries, you guys? There is a lot more in there.
Thanks for everyone being so involved.
It is what we get.
It does take all of us together.
Yeah. Right. Well, if there's no further discussion.
Make a motion.
There again.
Yeah, get